I have my very first purchase from eBay. I ordered a couple of Hoyas from eBay. I think they came from Indonesia, so they took a little while. I'm very excited but careful because they've been in transit for a little while, so I don't know what I'm going to find, but we're going to find out right now. There's more than one plant in here. Okay. I saw green, so that's a good thing. Okay. I don't know what this is, but it is so pretty. I don't know what this is. Oh my god, if it's free, it's for me. This is so pretty. Oh, that's awesome. It's got a little bit of splash. I hope this survives. We have a full-size undulata. Wow. This is awesome. God, I hope it recovers from the travels. I do see some loose leaves. It's got millies. Oh, it's got millies. Okay, that's the undulata. And now this is the plant I really wanted from this shipment. There's things crawling in this. Oh my god. I'm definitely gonna give it a nice warm bath. But this is my Hoya clemenciorum. The leaves are crazy. Wow. Oh my gosh. I am thinking about cutting into single nodes because I don't like how long these tendrils are. Wow, that is beautiful. So gorgeous. Now, considering how difficult undulatas are, I don't have high expectations for this. I do see some yellowing, but I'm going to do the warm bath with soap because they do have millies and random bugs. And then I think I'm going to check the roots. Let's check the roots right now. And just to be safe, I think I'm also going to spray them with very diluted sulfur water. Because they do have to go in my cabinet and I don't want to introduce anything in there. So a little bit of warm water and soap, and then the sulfur, I think it should do the trick. The moss is like super, super tight. I don't want to damage any roots, but I also think I might have to reroot it anyways. Yeah, I think that my best bet is to reroot this, honestly. Because the moss is extremely tight and I hear snapping. I don't know if it's the moss snapping or if it's my roots snapping. Plus, I have a lot to work with here to reroot it, so I'm not concerned. Yeah, truthfully, I'm going to reroot this. I'm gonna chop off that bottom and just prop this in perlite after I give it a nice soak. So let's check the clemenciorum. I think the clemenciorum, I'm going to do the same thing. Just cut it into a single note cuttings. I think this is the only comment that I have about this purchase, that the moss is packed extremely tight. But these are Hoyas, so I have high expectations for them to be able to bounce back. Yeah, this one got, the roots are like also coming off with the moss. Yeah. I actually have another light and another heating mat, so I'm probably not going to put this in my cabinet actually. I think I'm going to get a bin. I have a bin. Yeah, so I'm gonna make its own little propagation station so I don't introduce anything to my cabinet. Even if I wash it, I just feel like it's risky. And then this one, I have to check what the name of this is because I don't know what this is. And I know some people might prop them in water first for a couple of days or something like that, but I'm not afraid. I'm gonna cut them and whatever has to happen, happens. Yeah, so pretty much we don't have roots. They're very hairy. So I'm gonna put them in this same bin. And just going to give them a good soak. And just so y'all can see what I mean by heavy roots, that's what happens when Hoya roots rot. So these are no good. So you're better off cutting them off, rerooting the plant. And Hoyas can really root from anywhere. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to chop up here, and I'm going to chop here, and here again. And lastly, I think here. So I'm going to make them into separate plants. So I got 2 bowls of perlite. I'm gonna use one for the undulata. I don't know if they're all going to fit in one, but the other one I'm gonna use it for the clemensiorum cuttings. And I'm gonna place these bowls with my seedling mat, and they should root, fingers crossed. All right, so I'm gonna start with my clemensiorum, and I'm gonna cut a reasonable stem to give it more chances of rooting. I'm gonna cut here. You know, I should probably not be cutting that on my countertop like that, but yeah. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so I put a very small layer of water, and I'm gonna place it on my seedling mat. Yeah, I definitely need something to hold this down because the leaf is so heavy. And this is the undulata. I have one more piece here, but I'm going to put this one in a separate cup because it just doesn't fit. And I see a little bit of sap, so that's a good sign. They're not completely dry. And this one, I'm not going to cut it into single nodes. I'm just going to cut I'm going to cut right here. Oh, we lost a leaf. Alright, so this is where I put my prop box for now. It definitely can't stay here, but I am working, so after work, I'll find another spot for it. But I have the heating mat inside, and then I have a T8 light, Monio's T8, and they're gonna be there until they show signs of root or any growth. But I definitely have to find a different spot for them. I'm thinking I might put them in my laundry room. We'll see. I don't know. Space is running real tight here for plants. But I'll check back with you guys and I'll update you, see how they're doing. So it's been a couple of weeks and I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that I still have the plants, and the bad news is that I'm down to basically single cuttings of the plants. So for starters, my undulata. My undulata gave me the biggest surprise. This one's not doing that bad. This one, the biggest cutting, has a growth point. It has this single leaf cutting that rooted, so I can't even pull it out, but it has no growth point yet. And then the most surprising part is this leafless node with 2 growth points right now that are about to push a leaf. So that was very surprising. I have it in moss and perlite, and I plan to keep it that way because it's doing good. So the way I water it is I wait for the moss to be almost completely dry. And the way that somebody described it to me in a Facebook group is that she waits until the moss is dry, but it doesn't feel like hay. So I wait till it's almost there. It almost feels like hay, but it's very, very dry. Just because it's a Hoya and I don't want to drown it, I wait till that point, and it's been giving me the best result. So just to give a close up, so that is the growth point there. That's a baby leaf. And then on this one, you can see a little growth point right there. So it's got 1 and then 2 growth points. And then this one is the one that's rooted, but no growth points yet. So that's very exciting. What I would have done differently with this import is that I should have waited to chop them because I was very excited to chop and prop and have potentially multiples of them, and I honestly should have just kept the whole plant as they were and tried to root them and then cut them. So that's one thing I would have done differently. Another thing I would have done differently is that I should have stayed off them. Jeez, I should have just given them space. I was a helicopter plant parent 100%, and I was checking on those roots constantly, pulling out the cuttings from the rooting media every other day. And I think that was definitely not good for the plants. Some of them I rooted in perlite, some of them in moss. The ones that I put in moss had the best success rate. As for the undulata, now the Sulawesiana, I put it in perlite, but that one had arrived in already really good conditions, so I knew I was going to have success with the Sulawesiana. So this is her, and this is the newest sleeve, and it looks a little messed up because it started growing against the pond, so it was touching the pond as it was growing. At the top, I have no growth. And I know for a fact I could have definitely gotten away with chopping this one and propping it because that's how good it looked when it arrived. But because I didn't order this one, this was a freebie, I kind of just like threw it in perlite, forgot about it. Hence why it rooted so quickly. So you can see the growth right there. That's the newest leaf. And the rest of the plant hasn't really, oh, come on, focus, baby. But I'm not going to chop the top. I'm just going to let it be. It's doing really, really good in terms of roots, so I don't want to bother it. It is what it is. Again, I didn't order this plant. This was a freebie, so I'm okay with whatever she wants to do. The most exciting one is the Clemenciorum. Up until this weekend, I actually had 2 pieces of the Clemenciorum, but I put one outside as a test just to see if it would push a growth point faster, and it was rooted when I put it outside, but I think that the pond had too much perlite that I added, and it was holding too much moisture, so the roots rotted. I was about to bring it to a plant swap, and I said, let me check the roots before I bring that, and sure enough, it had root rot, so I didn't bring it. So I consider that one a loss. It's fine. But I definitely wanted this piece out of all the cuttings to make it, because look at this leaf. This leaf is just gorgeous. It's huge. And it has rooted so well. I'm going to try to, okay, here we go. So that is the new growth right there. And I don't know, she's doing a couple of things in that stem. Oh, it doesn't want to focus. Right there too, that could be a root, that could be another growth, but I know for sure that's growth, so I'm very excited to see that new leaf. But again, this leaf is just gorgeous. She could stay with just that one leaf and I'll die happy. So overall, would I import again? Yes, I would. It is a rehab project, takes some time, and if you're impatient, it could be a little difficult to feel like rewarding after ordering a plant that you really wanted and waiting for it to root. However, overall, I think it was more affordable than having to get a cutting locally or in the United States. Just say that I paid for the entire order what I would pay for maybe one undulata the size of the plant that I got. Had I not cut the plant so quickly, I would have a massive specimen for a really good price. So yes, I would definitely do it again. I would not cut the plant as soon as it gets here. That was a very rookie mistake. I should have just rooted the whole thing first. The roots, when they arrived, they were definitely not good. So I was going to have to root the plant regardless, but it would have had a better success had I rooted the entire plant and not chop it down. However, it looks like I'm going to end up with at least a couple of undulatas, so that's a really good deal in my opinion. Yes, it has taken time, but it's worth it in my opinion. And of course, the next time, I would just give them more space. I would not saturate the media so much. I was so on top of it, impatiently waiting for roots, that I was constantly checking on it, maybe watering a little too much. And that is the reason why I lost some of the Clemenciorum cuttings. I was keeping the perlite too wet too often, and I was not giving the cuttings time to callus over before I put them back into the very soaked perlite. So that's something I would have done differently. Again, I wouldn't have had that issue if I would have kept the entire plant together and root the whole plant. I would have ended up with a very large specimen of a Clemenciorum as well as the undulata. But I will definitely be importing Hoyas again. I think it was worth it. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.